there, world travelers and adventure seekers. Welcome to another shenanigan-laden episode of But Did You Die with the Jet Sisters, the second most popular sibling podcast on the internet after New Heights.
I'm Rachel, and this is my big sister, Angie, and we are here to share travel news, tips, and, of course, disasters from our adventures.
Buckle up, folks, because we are about to take you on a journey. So it's been a minute since we dressed up. I feel like we used to dress up a lot, but this is our first virtual podcast special dress up episode. So
if you are tuning in on Spotify or Apple or anywhere you actually listen to a podcast and not on YouTube, you are missing out because Ange is covered in green paint. Will it come off? Time will tell.
You know, I didn't think about that in the grand scheme of the things I have to record tomorrow with my face. So this could be interesting. We might be needing to use a filter. At any rate, Wicked, the movie musical is coming out finally in theaters next month. So I think it's Thanksgiving week. So we decided this is the time for us to finally put on our Elphaba and Glinda costumes. I want to know, are you surprised? Are you surprised at who we went with?
Because this has just been in my closet forever, and I've been waiting to wear it. No, not really. I just bought this crown at Target. Really does the job. Oh, and there's
Target has some solid Wicked merch. If you're into Wicked these days. I mean, obviously I did have this wig just lying around. And I did also have the green face paint. Like, you just never know when you're going to need it, you know? So I probably bought it like 4 years ago, and this is the first time I'm using it. So yay.
I'm a little bit obsessed with how we look, to be honest.
I know. It kind of makes me want to go like trick-or-treating right now. Would it be
together
weird,
as adults?
Just like, I mean, people would give us candy because we look fierce. We look fierce. Well, this whole podcast isn't about how great we look, but one more time, how great do we look? Here's what I want to know. For anybody watching, did we get the casting right? Or did you think it would be the other way around?
See, personality, I think flip. But now that I'm looking at us, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear all the dog toys in the background, but the dogs are like playing with every squeaker toy that they've ever had. This is not the time.
And they never do it normally.
Enough about us being characters. Let's get into us. And what we did last week, which was go to the Taylor Swift concert in Miami.
Guys.
Surprise, surprise to no one.
We won't talk about it for long because I know probably half of our audience is like, oh my gosh, this again. But I must say that we were at Miami night one. It was such an insane night to be there that as we were leaving, I was like, any amount of money I would have paid for that would have been worth it because it was that good. And of course, we got face value tickets last minute, so lucky us. But if I would have paid those stupid StubHub prices, it would have been worth it because the vibes were immaculate. It was probably, it's going to rank up there with top 5 Eras Tour nights of the whole tour, right?
Vibes were up. We got a new Reputation bodysuit, which is huge. We cannot get into that right now. That would take
we don't have the time
forever. But it was a big deal. It was a rain show. I mean, just
rain show.
You can't. Oh, and we got Florida with Florence. All right, let's get into travel news.
Yes, I am so excited about this as a lover of justice and fairness and doing the right thing and also being able to count. Airlines are cracking down on gate lice, which, do you know what gate lice are? You probably do.
I have never, ever heard the term gate lice, so please tell me more.
From me, while yelling at people. Okay, so when people, you go to the airport, you're at your gate, everybody has a boarding number or group number, right? They're in numerical order, 1 to, let's say, 9. That means if you're in the first group, you're in the first part of the line. If you're in the 9, then you don't need to get up until everybody else is on the plane, basically. So gate lice are those people in like group 7, 8, 9 who are standing in the walkway. preventing everybody else from getting to where they're going, right? That's a gate lice. And it's not a very nice term, but it's not a very nice thing to do, stand in the line when you're not supposed to be in the line yet. Am I right? Justice. That's all I'm saying. So, sorry my hands aren't green. It doesn't stick on very well, and if I touched anything, it would go really bad. So, okay.
Sure.
To tackle this problem, American Airlines, which is my airline of choice at the moment, they are trialing new technology in New Mexico, Arizona, and Virginia. So passengers who try to board before they're supposed to board, they set off an error beep, which alerts the gate agent and everybody else that they are not following the rules, which, like, I'm so here for this. I'm so here for this because nothing makes me madder. And then the line cutters get sent to the back of the line. And what this reminds me of is, have you ever seen, I think it's an Adam Sandler movie where, like, somebody pees in the pool and they've put a chemical in there so you can see when somebody's peeing in the pool because it, like, turns it blue or something? That's kind of what it reminds me of. It's like, ding, 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 somebody's not following the rules. And I think that's hilarious. So far it's happening in Tucson, Albuquerque, and I think Reagan in DC. And I kind of just want to fly there. I have no reason to fly to any of these places right now, but I kind of want to go there just to be like, just see people get sent to the back of the line. Like, I understand bag space is at a premium, but you can't push people out of the way when you're in group 9. I'm sorry. There are rules for a reason. Am I crazy? Am I being a witch about this?
You may be being, no, I get it. That doesn't bug me as much as when people stand around the conveyor belt waiting for their bags. That drives me crazy. Like, if everyone just took 3 steps back,
right,
we could all get our bags easily.
Yes.
I will say I was just on a flight like 3 days ago, and people were scanning in, and if it wasn't their group number, they sent them out. They're like, no, you're not getting on the plane. And that was Delta.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah. And if you are like, this is not that big of a deal, you're right. It's really not. If you fly a lot, then, like, these little things get under your skin. But grand scheme of things, you're right. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, and what's funny? It's especially not a big deal for me because I never, like, I always check my bags. So I'm not jockeying for overhead bin space. I'm too short to stick my stuff up there without asking for help. So, like, it's just awkward for me. So all my stuff goes under the seat in front of me anyway. I don't even need the bin space. I just would like order to be maintained. Is that so much to ask in life?
Well, because this is our special Halloween episode, we have a very special Halloween topic, a never before told story. Some of you may know this, but a little bit embarrassing for me, a little bit scary for Ange.
But
enough teasing. Let's get into it. Ange, what are we talking about this week? Wait, I really want to eat a gummy worm because it's Halloween. So let me open the bag before. I want a gummy worm, man. Proceed.
You can't wait 20 minutes? Okay. Several years ago, this is pre-pandemic, we did a huge project with Mississippi Delta tourism, and we went back to that area 3 times in 1 year, right? So went to all these little towns, explored the Mississippi, these villages. I taught Rachel how to gamble at one of the casinos in Tunica. So one of our last stops in these 3 trips was historic Vicksburg. So if you know anything about Vicksburg, it's a huge pivotal turning point for the Civil War. The siege of Vicksburg happened in 1863, and it really played a major outcome. When we were there, we did a private tour at Vicksburg National Military Park and the big cemetery. And I thought that was going to be, whatever. I wasn't super excited about it. And that was probably the most interesting thing that we did. I loved it. I learned so much. It was absolutely fascinating. Also in Vicksburg, it's the first place Coca-Cola was ever bottled. You might think it was Atlanta, but it was actually in Vicksburg, and they have lots of memorabilia. You can kayak on the Mississippi River. There's a casino. So there's a lot going on in Vicksburg, but probably the most famous thing in Vicksburg is that it's known to be pretty haunted, which, if you know anything about me, I don't care about that. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to know about it.
Do you see this dog?
Toto.
You see her? She's just looking at me longingly, but you can't really tell because the microphone's blocking her face.
I can see.
She's like, what What is it, baby?
Oh my gosh, she's truly like, Mom,
My mom's a
you look
princess.
like a
Okay,
princess.
her sister was a witch.
You're gonna tell me that I'm wrong, bro? If there's one thing that I never want to do, not in my free time, not in my work time, if a tourism board asks me, what do you not want to do? I don't want to do a bike tour, and I don't want to do a ghost tour of any kind.
But when it's really the main thing to do in the town, how do you say no? And I really talked Angie into this because I, on the other hand, I like ghost tours when they're not too serious. Like, I've done a handful in Savannah and the Keys and New Orleans and a couple in Texas. Like, it's fun. It's quirky. Like, it's fine. What I won't do is when they're like, now take pictures on your phone and see what you can see. That I won't do. I'm just there for the fun. They do not bother me. I'm good. Not scary to me at all, like my sister who was a witch. Okay, so let's talk about the McRaven house, which is like the one main thing that was on our itinerary to do in this town. It's known as the time capsule of the South and one of the most haunted buildings in the U.S. Yes, most haunted buildings in the U.S. that Ange was told to go into.
Well, okay, so I'll be honest, and I'll get into this more later, but I didn't really read the itinerary very closely. I feel like it's one of those that probably came in late, and I was like, yeah, whatever, we'll go to the house, whatever. Fine, I can walk through a house that's haunted. I've been to many a haunted hotel, and nothing happens, right? McRaven was built when George Washington was president. That's how old it is. And every, 100 years or 50 years, the new owners would do an add-on. But then they left the original part original. So they have, that's why they call it a time capsule. It's like they've got 1790s, they've got the 1830s, and then they've got further 1849. Right. So all these different owners, all these different people dying in the house, etc., etc. So let's set the scene. I'm looking at the itinerary for later in the day, and I'm like, this says we have a private tour of McRaven Mansion, and it starts at 9 p.m. I was like, don't love that. That seems dark.
And I'm like, suck it up. Let's just go. Let's do it. It's not a big deal. Haunted house. Okay, fine. So we get to the parking lot where there are no other cars. And this is where I start to get a little bit nervous
and no
too.
Street lights. And it's also, you think a parking lot, it's a parking area at the end of a dead-end street at an iron gate with high trees. You can see nothing but the trees and the gate and the gravel and no lights.
And our information is meet your person at 9. It's 8:57. There's no other cars in the parking lot. We're meet them here, meet them in the house.
Which we can't
where
see.
we're meeting them.
We can't see
the house. So we wait, we panic a little in the car, and then it's 9:03, and I'm like, we are officially late. If this person is not here, then they are in the house. So we have to walk into the house. So we get out of the car and we start walking in the pitch black wooded area towards the scariest house.
It was silent other than our footsteps in the gravel.
We are holding each other like this, so close. And then we saw a werewolf, but it turned out to be a wet floor sign.
So
we did scream all the way back to the car.
It was a little bit back.
Figured out.
It had two ears, but and we were like, werewolf! It was a wet floor sign in the dark. Okay, false alarm. And then by then we kind of saw the front of the house. You kind of went around the trees a little bit into the gate. And so we're like, all right, we really have to go do it. So we we went back to the car, freaked out for a second. And then we're like, we have to go. This is our job. We have to do this. We're getting paid. So we go running up to the house, right?
We knock on the door and it slowly creeps open and a light starts to appear, and I feel like there's a very thin layer of fog, and it opens all the way to a young woman wearing a big blue Victorian dress, and she goes, well, hey y'all. And we're like, oh, thank God.
Not a ghost.
Not a ghost.
Just a
Not a
southern girl
ghost.
from Mississippi. Woo!
So before we start the tour, she's like, so we've had like ghost hunters and everyone here. So we have a little intro video for you to watch about the house before we start. And I'm like, the heck I'm watching this. So we sit on the stairs and she's behind us and this video is playing and both of us just have our eyes closed and are going, cool. Oh, okay, cool. Do not watch it at all.
The video was the scariest, like, instructional welcome to the house video you've ever seen.
So yeah, so then we start the tour, right? And she's walking us around. I mean, she's so nice. She's Southern. She's talking about what this room was and who stayed here and who did this. And did she tell us there's one room where people usually get really lightheaded?
We were in
this was the men's dressing room is where people usually feel a certain type of way. And I think that's the room we walked into. And then the next room we walked into, and you're going to have to tell the story because I just wasn't there.
Yeah, so we're in the room and she's telling us stuff and she's like, sometimes you can see a face in this window and that's so-and-so. And I'm like, here's the thing. I don't like scary stuff, but it's not because I believe in all of it. I just don't like to be scared. And so what I'm expecting to happen is a person dressed like a ghost to jump out and scare me until I pee my pants. Like, that's kind of what I'm expecting from this. I'm expecting Halloween Horror Nights. I don't think something real is going to happen. I'm going to get grabbed by an actor in a closet and I'm gonna pee myself. So that's what I didn't want. Okay, so we're in this room. She's telling us all the things. I'm like, yeah, let's just make this go so much faster. And I look at Ray and she looks out of sorts. So I'm like, are you okay? And I don't even remember like what you said. You were just like, yeah, I'm okay. Then you're like, I want to sit down. And I'm like, well, you can't sit down. Everything's antique. Like you can't sit on the antique furniture, right? And you're like, okay, I have to sit down. So this girl sits on the floor in the middle of the ghost room. And I'm like, are you okay? And I'm starting to get pretty nervous. At this point, I look at my sister and the light has left her eyes completely. It's just blackness. Literally, the part of her eyes that used to have color are now fully black. And so I kind of like pick you up off the ground and you come with me, but I can tell that you're not in your right mind, let's say. So we get out kind of toward the stairs, I think it was. And I think we were going to go downstairs and get you some water. She's like, I could get you a cookie or some water. And we're like, yeah, okay. So she leaves us on the landing. You know, it's one of these beautiful old staircases with a landing. And you sit back down on the ground and are gone. Like catatonic, eyes wide open. And I'm like, okay, I got a couple of options here. I leave my sister behind and I run into the darkness because that's mentally I was like, this ain't it. And I was like, I pick her up and throw her down the stairs and drag her to the car.
Because my eyes are black and my lips are white.
White. Your face is white. Your lips are like all the color is out of your face. You are toast, but your eyes are open like nothing I've ever seen. So I'm like, I'm either going to throw her down the stairs and then drag you by your arms, you know, into the parking lot. I am leaving you because
you're leaving me forever.
Or yeah. I feel like the ghost was capturing you and I would just never see you again. And then you would be the new ghost haunting McRaven. I'm like, Rachel, are you there? What? Wake up. And so the girl comes back with some water and I guess like the light came back into your eyes, but you were like glued to the ground.
But I don't remember any of this. Like, I don't remember like moving down the stairs. I don't remember looking at you. I don't remember you taking a picture of me, which let me warn everyone. And before like running away, like she said she had two options: leave me there forever or drag me down the stairs. Well, one of the options was take a picture of Rachel's face because this is going to need to be remembered. This is the picture. I'm putting it up on the screen in a couple seconds. If you don't want to see it, don't look at it. Here it is. Yeah. I've never looked worse. How scary is that? Can you believe? And poor Ange, who didn't want to do this at all, now is thinking that her sister is possessed.
I'm like, I knew this was going to happen. This is why I don't go to haunted houses. I've got a ghost for a sister. This is not what I signed up for. I was so terrified, but I will say in, 20 years as a content creator, you got to get that photo. Yeah. So Ray came around, the lady gave her a cookie and some water, and we continued the tour. Literally, this sweet tour guide was like, oh yeah, it happens all the time. And carrying on, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And all for the low, low price of like $30 a tour. You know what I mean? Like, holy moly.
Needless to say, that was Ange's last ghost tour.
Let's just also tell them what happened after, which was we got in the car. We were absolutely freaking out. I'm showing Rachel the picture of her not in her body or whatever. And we're just like, ah. So guess where we have to go back to?
The haunted hotel we were staying in that night.
The hotel they had us in was a beautiful old Civil War mansion that was also like a hospital for the soldiers. So,
Beautiful place. And the room they gave us was like, what do we have, like 7 beds in there? 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, it was huge.
So many places to sleep. Guess where we slept? In the same bed, in one room with all the lights on, the TV on. Yeah.
Like holding each other all night. That was an experience. And let me tell you, that photo on my phone, I have dined out on that story many times. I have shown so many people that photo. I am so glad I took the photo. So, hot tip, always take a photo. My travel tip for this kind of situation would just be like read your itineraries really closely. Because I think I got a little distracted and was like, oh, we've been here twice. We've been to the Mississippi Delta twice before. So we love everything here. It's going to be so great. And then they snuck a haunted house in on us. So, yeah, I wouldn't have signed up for a nighttime tour of a haunted mansion. So
that's your travel tip. Your travel tip is to not do a haunted house.
I mean, essentially, yeah.
My travel tip is to make sure you eat dinner before going into the haunted house, because that's what I skipped, and that's why I fainted probably.
Yeah, I feel like you
fainted.
I've
never fainted like that before.
Yeah, in a way you've never fainted before or since.
Yeah.
Like, I've been keeping an eye on you ever since to see if this ever happens again, and it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, I don't think it was anything creepy. I really think you had a blood sugar situation. However, the timing was inopportune for me. So
the timing was impeccable. Pranked you.
Well,
fabulous.
I mean, if you had planned it, that would have been exactly something you would do, but you couldn't plan your pupils dilating and all the color draining out of your face necessarily right on time. So
what was the disaster?
I think we know. I think, we forgot to introduce it as such, but the disaster was my sister's soul leaving her body in a haunted house and scaring the bejesus out of me. Truly, like, if you thought I wasn't going to do a ghost tour, and how many times have you asked me to do a ghost tour since? And I'm like, nah. Evidence, Exhibit A, I shall not be doing that. No.
Yeah, sorry about that. My bad. I'll try not to do it again, but no promises. Does anybody else have a weird, spooky Halloween story? I think by the time we film our next episode, Halloween will be over, but I would totally love to read and tell our other listeners, what happened to you? Did you faint at a really weird time? Tell us in the comments.
Yes.
All right, what's up for this week?
The election is right around the corner. I think we probably won't record again until after the election. So, a haunted house, but it's America. Haunted house, but it's just a mediocre man who appears to tell you that Taylor Swift is overrated every time he sees a girl wearing friendship bracelets.
A haunted house, but it's just my inbox when I get back from a vacation.
Haunted house, but it's just the American healthcare system.
Oh, too much.
Really, so scary. It's sad. But yeah, so the election will happen between now and the next time we see you, which I'd love to say we'll know who the president's going to be, but this is America, folks. This reality show is always surprising. It's always the most dramatic rose ceremony election ever. So,
yeah.
We'll be early voting and then jumping into a volcano on election day. Literally, we're going to Hawaii. So, bye. I won't have
Not
service.
me. That's just Ange.
Yeah, me and Ricky are going to go. So, it's my election year tradition is to go to Hawaii. I have done it every 4 years since 2004, except for 2020 for obvious reasons. So we are getting back on our schedule of going there, and new island, going to the Big Island. I'm super excited. Thank you for joining us for our most special episode ever, our very first Halloween episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
If you enjoyed it, you can give us a like or subscribe so we can continue recording and wearing ridiculous costumes.
These hats don't buy themselves. Thanks for being here, and we will see you on the other side of the election.
Dun dun dun! Spooky Halloween episode.
Haunted house.